Work-life balance, where are we on that? Is it an old thing? Is it a career limiting thing now? Should we still be saying it? Should we not?
Work-life integration, I think it's a vision that is forced, phone on your waist or with you all the time, that although you say you're not working, but actually work can come in the room where you are and take you over. And suddenly there's a business opportunity or business problem that you have to solve immediately.
I came across this within the topic of work-life balance. It was a tweet. They said, is this just nostalgia, or did previous generations genuinely have better work-life balance and social life than we do today? And then
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Clock.
How do you deal with stress? How do you handle that?
Coping mechanism that I have is I go for a run.
Manage stress by obviously being moments like this. Directly saying I'm going off the clock.
Just even a night out.
I'm listening to my favorite music. I go into one of the studios at the gym and I dance.
Some cocktails and rest and just do nothing.
I ground myself spiritually.
The right amount of stress is good.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Clock. This one is a little bit of a special episode where we spotlight particular topics that relate to our Off the Clock topics. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, so maybe let me kick it off. This week I came across an interesting topic from the internet. So it was around how we no longer have work-life balance and how we're transitioning into work-life integration. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a definition so that we are anchored. So work-life balance focuses on keeping personal and professional lives private with strict boundaries, whereas work-life integration blends these areas. So allowing your work and your personal tasks to coexist throughout the day. And so I wanted to know from you guys, has this been your experience? What have you seen? What are your initial thoughts on this change or transition? Do you like it? Do you hate it?
So for me, another generation older, I think, keeping it very clean, that's very important for me. Not mixing it up. And I see companies suffering from that. A lot of companies were very excited about the balance side and the health by 3-day week, 4-day week. Now they're taking everything back because they realize that actually that level of trying to balance doesn't work. My understanding and my preference of work-life balance is a moment where I leave work at work, meaning you can't reach me. Once I closed my laptop, I'll go home, have ice cream with my son, play ball, or do my own hobbies, or sit in the bar and drink and catch up with friends, or go to the gym and or read or write my book, or watch the movies, or go to Off the Clock studio and do things like this. So that's my idea of work-life balance. Work-life integration, I think it's a vision that is forced, phone on your waist or with you all the time, that although you say you're not working, but actually work can come in the room where you are and take you over. And suddenly there's a business opportunity or business problem that you have to solve immediately. That I don't like personally. I prefer to draw a line between work and other stuff.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have, with integration, like you're saying, it doesn't have a clear start or stop. In the middle of drop-off or in the middle of Woolies, you're now having to solve a big client problem. And I think, also for me, I think that's just the issue. I don't know. What are your thoughts as a sort of borderline millennial/Gen Z?
first of all, I would like. So, where did you get this term? Where did you find it? You said you came across it this
Internet.
week.
The internet. So I think I'm not sure if it was from Emma Greed. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name properly. She was doing some PR around her book, Start With Yourself. And one of the topics that she was talking about was work-life balance, and going into an interview and saying, you know, you're looking for work-life balance, a little bit career limiting. Don't be doing that, you know. You know, you should rather position yourself as, you know, if this job doesn't necessarily give you the work-life balance, you need to change your thinking around the job itself and whether or not it is aligning to your higher self within a career context. So that made me then think about, okay, work-life balance, you know, where are we on that? Is it an old thing? Is it a career limiting thing now? Should we still be saying it? Should we not? And then I came across this work-life integration.
So I think, well, I agree with that, obviously, because we already broke down basically the flaw of what work-life integration is versus what work-life balance is. The one just doesn't have boundaries. It's like choosing a partner. Which one are you going to choose? The one who doesn't respect your boundaries or the one that does? So I think it just sounds like another term. Like, in a way, it's like we're being marketed to, like, as like young professionals or even old professionals. Like, no, this is the new thing you should be working on. Work-life integration. It's like we must be able to work whenever your boss tells you to, or whenever an email comes in, or whenever your phone rings and it's your client. So I think, in a way, I don't want to like sugarcoat what, you know, to me, it looks like young people or people who are further in their careers to, in a way, be guilted into you must be available to work 24/7 whenever. So, and they're just packaging it in a nice way.
There's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like I get it from both sides. Like they're saying, and I guess it's with this transition back into the office full time, because that's also where we're going with the world. Well, I don't know now with the oil prices if we're gonna be able to go to work full time, but I think in transitioning back into the office full time, you know, that just means that we're going back to the ways, like the older ways or pre-COVID ways in terms of how we work. But they're saying we're giving you flexibility as a trade-off. We're saying be available, but you don't have to be seated at your desk to be available. So you can go do a drop-off. You can go to Woolies. You can have lunch, but just be available for urgent things. You know,
what if everything suddenly looked like it's agent? Yeah. We've heard from this very show where when you ask the same question to CEOs, to leaders, they divide it in the middle. Some of them are warmer to the topic and they say they're balancing and all that. And I'm not even sure it's the PR more political answer or the real answer. Some of them are dead honest to say work-life balance doesn't exist in their world. And I think it's horses for horses. You know, people experience this work-life balance in a different way, depending on the stage of life, whether you are entry-level manager, middle manager, director, or CEO, where you run the business and design the workflow around you and create that balance. So it's many things for many people in terms of this work-life balance. You talk about dropping off kids and going to Woolies and all that. Somebody get au pair to drop the kids, to feed them and look after them, and also do the groceries and just work, which is also no balance. I'd rather go to Woolies and pick up those fresh vegetables or ice cream or sushi, taste them, and then I'm not at work. I'm balancing if it's what I like.
It sounds like Dad agrees with me that this is just PR. It's just fancy way of saying that you need to work all the time. Work-life integration.
Yeah, but it's with a trade-off.
I mean, all of these things are.
It's with a trade-off. Because imagine if they said you need to work all the time, bums on seats. That means you miss Woolies, you miss drop-off, you miss so many things in your day and so many moments with your family or with your children. Would you rather multitask it, or would you rather not even be there at all?
I actually saw, can't remember whether it was a video short or an article a couple of weeks back where they were saying the very same thing and saying the 3-day week, it's gone, doesn't exist, because in fact, even went on to say the 4-day week where Friday you're home, productivity, they measured it as low. People don't return emails, don't return calls, and it's not happening. Of course, we have two schools of thought, people arguing and saying if you're monitoring people like that, somebody was even saying actually work happens in silence when you don't hear from anybody. People are working, but if people are not meeting their deadlines and it's just make a cross and believe that the work is done, I honestly don't think it's okay. What I'm seeing happening in the real work environment is people are going back to a 5-day week. It's more relaxed in the way they follow up and do, but the 2-day, 3-day.
When you
week
say
doesn't-
3-day, do you mean like in the office?
In the office.
Okay.
Yeah, like sitting in the office where everybody's there, because a lot of company have been saying is needed for culture, for connectivity and all that, So, I mean, with the phones and the gadget and the watches and everywhere, you can call you wherever you are. It became very difficult to hide. You can run, but you can't hide. They find you through your phone. But the good thing is, I've recently, I mean in the last 9 months, incorporated AI into my life the way I do, and just learning two very useful tricks in there. The one is my gadget, my phone, it's able now to screen the calls for me. That's like a marketer is calling to trying to sell a tracking device. And then I decide, ignore. I'm not going to take it. If I get a call that I don't know somebody else, it will mention an employee from, I don't know, NetBank is trying to reach you. Okay, they want to collect their money or whatever. Decide whether I can screen that.
Yeah.
Your boss from the office is red-eyed looking for you. So, I think, we can talk a little bit about the impact or positive impact of AI to work-life balance, because remember, AI also helps to simplify things. If you use it properly, you can be able to do a project in half the time or quarter the time and make sure that the quality is still there, as long as you vet and check and make it more relevant and put a lot of input in it. But it can help to screen those calls. And also incorporating AI is very useful. I realized that it can also, with your gadget, and tell you don't flag any emails or anything at this hours. I'm not here, but I'm here.
Yeah.
You
The
were
only
asking
thing about AI is that in terms of your actual work is that, from my experience, the timelines then reduce. So if we know that you can leverage AI to do your work, then if a project took like 10 weeks, we're now saying it's going to take 5 weeks. So it's not like you're saving time using AI. You have less time to do the task because of AI.
You're still saving time. It's just the way I think the companies manage it. Because remember, AI spec is personal AI, and an AI that is curated for companies and for project.
Yeah.
If I work in a private equity, AI used to research firms create data sets, to do due diligence, assess deals, and verify things. And you need that to get to the point quicker.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
still saving time. Why do you need suddenly, because AI that you cut it and customize it for your firm, it must save you time. If it doesn't save you time, cancel the contract and just Google everywhere and take your 6 weeks. That's
Yeah.
how I see it. But again, AI is down to how you use it.
Yeah.
And choosing the right platform as well of AI. I like Claude. It's more, I think, customized to more corporate thinking. It doesn't exaggerate a lot unless you ask it to. And but Gemini is as good. Or your favorite, Perplexity or ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and many.
I came across this within the topic of work-life balance. It was a tweet. They said, is this just nostalgia, or did previous generations genuinely have better work-life balance and social life than we do today? And then it shows an image of a guy. Looks like he's wearing a bulletproof vest and a bandana. But it's the text on the image says 1996, and then it says, Dad's worked one job, averaged 40 to 45 hours a week, bought a home for 3 times their salary, and still had weekends with their kids, dinner at the table, and time to breathe. Now, in 2026, dads are working 50 to 60 plus hours. Homes cost 6 to 8 times their income. Friendships have dropped by over 60%. And 1 in 4 dads report having no one they can talk to. What happened?
I think life has been very dynamic. I don't want to go there. 1996. It was a different life. I enjoyed it. Not to say I don't enjoy this life. It's you still have to be agile and adapt to work-life balance within this framework of today's life, and I do. Some people are more stuck into that. But I mean, the story also talk a lot about the cost of living. The fact that houses are 8-10 times more than they were, and it's true. I mean, think about it. If you don't work hard, you end up being homeless today, or staying in a very dingy apartment. Whereas those days, you can have a big homestead with a lot of land, and if you like, you put some sheep and goat on it, and some vegetables and things, which is way then. But you were talking about the Israel-Iran war impacting the price of gas for people going to work. I think people will continue to go to work even if petrol price will be 80 rand a liter. We'll still get there.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you get paid to do,
yeah,
Crazy.
I tried doing the math in my head and I stopped.
Don't stop, because way back when I bought my first car, was a different time. Petrol was cheaper, but then money worth more. I'll fill up my car with $50.
Well,
So it's just the value of money and time where you are. I think that's what we're dealing with. Of course, in recent time, it's exaggerated and impacted by the war and all that. But the problem is, people who increase the price of peanut butter, margarine, they don't bring that Woolies chicken. It didn't come down. Even though to run a chicken breeding farm, it's suddenly from an energy standpoint, they're spending less. They don't give you back the money. They take it and do other stuff or pass it on to shareholders. Smile and get bonus and everybody, But the next time it increases, they want to be the first one to jump to that increase. It's just the way life works, guys. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in a linear way. It's markets, demand and supply get exploited some way by some.
Yeah. But don't you feel like sometimes these work-life balance type of conversations, and I'm going to say something that's slightly controversial, maybe slightly unpopular, but these things are driven by a woman's experience in the workplace. And so therefore women fight for these things because maybe they have more of a business case to fight for them. Like if women are responsible for, I always say, drop-offs and pickups, then they need clear cutoffs for work-life balance. If you're going to have women in your workplace, you need to be accommodative of, everything else that comes with having a woman in your workplace. But as a man, if society doesn't see you as the main person responsible for drop-offs and pickups, what is then your business case? What is your fight?
I think it should be, and you make a compelling point. I think in terms of, let's say, trying to combat that point, we also just need to, because at the end of the day, men and women can be parents.
Yeah.
Each of them can have children. We also don't know what said person's situation is, whether they're single parents, we don't know the situation. So I just think that what should be put in place should be for a parent holistically. Because if you're a single dad, you're going to have the same struggles about the drop-off and the pickup and all those things, right? So I think they should just create, I don't know how, but just create that framework for parents in which they have that flexibility to operate and do all these things that are expected of them at work, as well as be able to commit to their parent roles and duties that they already have outside of work that most of the time come before their work, because your kids are your kids, your family is your family. So, yeah. But you do have a case because as society sees it, the burden of caregiving and all this thing for children is seen to be put more onto the woman.
I just want to, being, the father here and the parent here, bring a different, a more real world view of this as opposed to sentimental or snapshot of a moment type of a thing. Because, I think employees shouldn't bring domestic problems into the workplace. At the same time, if you cut a contract and say, I'm a young mother of 2 or 3 or 1, the summer conditions, you can cut it in your contract and do it. But also, it's also about managing your families as well. Who's there to say, if you've got kids, women are the only one who's supposed to pick and not drop them? Men are not supposed to do anything. Unless you've got a very straightforward, I'm not even talking about single parenting. I'm talking about, where there's a very clear mother, father in the family. They need to carry the weight. And that's not a company problem. It's a domestic problem if that weight is not carried. But if you make it your boss problem that I'm dropping and picking up alone and this and that, why are you not managing that problem in the house? Because the husband also need to be present. The previous speaker that you spoke to, her biggest regret was I wasn't present for my children while I'm driving my career. So, if you make that decision that you're going to have kids as a father and a mother, a man or a woman, you need to also carry the weight equally or share at different time. Don't make it a company problem. It's not a company problem.
No,
But if the hours are designed 8 to 5 and you've got a special needs and you can request a flexibility there, you need to manage it. Not just, at work only, but at home as well. So I think the whole balance story get blurred by also people being laxed about also managing that.
In no way am I saying, we need to make this the company's problem. It's just that the company employs people. We're not making domestic. We're not trying to bring our domestic problems to work. But at the end of the day, as long as the company knows that you employ a person who's not a robot that just does the work that you're saying they must do, they also have lives outside of this job.
That's about managing the boundaries as well.
Yeah.
Because companies can be very abusive. You can end up doing actually being paid to do a 8-hour job, and actually every day you're doing 12 hours. If you let that go, and I know the whole story of, if you say no to long hours, it's career limiting. They have to manage that.
Also, can I just interject? This whole thing of it's career limiting, it's like the most, not even subtle, but it's like the most calm threat that like people can give you in terms of you trying to have boundaries and like make something work for you, and they tell you, oh no, that's career limiting. And it's like, so the threat is that if I try to have healthy boundaries and a system that works for me, then now I can't go further in my career just because I'm trying not to burn myself out or
But also,
like have the ship fall apart.
But Klutz, also don't forget, there are also these subtle cultures in the company that are so unhealthy that sometimes just realize I have to leave this company, where to leave on time and arrive on time at work is like frowned upon. You must come early and leave late. I'm sure you had the story of Elon Musk saying he doesn't have a home, he was sleeping on a bench at work. People think if you want to be like this guy, you need to be homeless and sleep on a bench. And it's having run and managed companies before, that subtleness of leaders driving that culture is so powerful.
But I think those perceptions still stand. You will never, as long as you are the employee that is committed and you show commitment versus the other person, especially if the work also speaks for it, you can't compete against someone who insists on, or someone who has less boundaries than you and continues to work through the night. That person is gonna. And I think companies, the thing about working in a corporate space or in a team, whether it's in a corporate or in a business or whatever, you're always competing against the next person. Especially if you're working horse on the ground, you're always like. So it's always you always have to think about you against your peer. If they were to fire someone here, is it you? Because you have very clear-cut boundaries. Not that you shouldn't, but then does your work speak for you in spite of these clear-cut boundaries? Then I think you're fine. But if your work is the same between you and person A, but person A shows more commitment, I think that the perception of him or perception of her will outweigh yours or will be better than yours because they're always there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But okay. Let's just have a quick pivot. In that tweet I read, when it said 1996, it said Dad had one
job.
Where was this shift where the culture of seeing work as I need a 9 to 5 as well as something on the side? A lot of people is so I can stay alive because what I do right now, solely the day job, isn't enough. So I need a second job or I need the side hustle to make more. Or the perception is that this is what I'm doing right now and it's funding my side hustle, which is what I really want to do. But I can't just quit and do this now because this is providing the resources for this to work.
I mean, I think it's just a change of times and competition. Think about this country, an official unemployment rate is 31%, and most people are young and youth. So competition is very difficult. And it's very peculiar to South Africa, But at the same time, think about it where you are career-wise. If you are born Chinese or Indian, 1.4 billion people, to compete and like rise and get to the top like cream, it's having to work much harder and strive much harder than South Africa, just in terms of what you do. But to come to your earlier point, where you were talking about you always competing with those long hours, no boundaries with the next person, it's because companies talk about meritocracy. I'm going to promote you on merit because you delivered 3 projects ahead of time, you increased profitability, you did this and that. So people are obviously trying to add more reason to believe that I'm the next director, I'm the next CEO, I'm the next divisional head. So you're competing with people, you're not alone. It's a continuous struggle and a dial of, I signed up for 40 hours, I'm doing 60. So are you going to pay for 20? Or I'm doing this just to stay alive or rise up above my peers for, the next thing, check. And in management consulting, you work doc, yes, it's known. Like you got this project, thanks to AI, I think it's making it easier for them to get the stuff done.
So, as I was saying earlier, well, building onto what I was saying earlier about like where was the disconnect. Now let's go into the future. If everyone in our generation also has a side hustle that because I think the sense like there are people obviously that are comfortable with like happy with the job that they have and comfortable where they are and want to do that forever and are content. But then there's also a big amount of people that I guess have that side hustle, have that other thing that they're working on that they actually want to achieve. So if this is the future, and like that said, because that is, I think he's the voice of AI on this channel because he pushes this AI thing.
Which is ironic.
Given
Kind of, yeah.
If if this is the direction that the young people are moving, and because of AI, things are being made easier to do, and it expedites or streamlines a lot of things. What is the future looking like? Is it going to look like a lot of young people that work for themselves and are very independent, and the economy looks like it's built on entrepreneurs, and we're moving away from, let's say, the classic 9 to 5, being hired by a company, working there for 20 years, even though that's over with. We're in the culture now, you have to move like every 3 years, your job or whatever. What is the next phase of this whole thing? What is next?
I think for me, what is next is you're still going to get this cocktail of entrepreneurs in this generation and those who work for a boss and accompany this evolving job. People just choose, being a business owner, entrepreneurial is very stressful.
Yeah.
And it's for some and not for everybody else. Having to not know if you're going to be able to pay the bills every month. A lot of people are not comfortable with that. Some people are happy in that world. So therefore people are going to choose. But what I think and can encourage is young people should start their own businesses. They don't have to start flashy and shiny, but you can start by a business that is, I don't know, an app that helps the people who are doing gardening and landscaping for houses in the most effective way, managing that ecosystem, starting a business. Because most people who started a business, they didn't hit it big with the first business. They're just being entrepreneurial. I think we way back interviewed this guy from Sobe who was just starting different businesses, getting in trouble, move on to another one, from music production to music CDs and LPs to making people beautiful in the beauty industry to food and to training and other stuff. It's just the mind that is geared towards solving problems that are there, making money by solving problems. Where is the gap in the market? How can I close it? Type of a thing. And I think it's going more there because I look at you guys and I look at our lives in my time was, although it was still, apartheid South Africa or post-apartheid South Africa, tougher, still, white people coming with jobs that are reserved and being helped. It's still very tough for you guys to compete as well in terms of the next big thing. But at the same time, I think it's easy if you think about the size of the market, the freedom and the opportunity that you can go after, these opportunities.
So, with that being said, how would you advise yourself? Let's say you from 1991, or let's say 1990. What would you say to yourself, knowing that this is how the next, let's say, 30 whatever years is going to look like, and this is the way the world is moving? What advice would you give yourself back then?
I always tell you this. I just wish that what I know now, where I am now, if I've known it when I was your age, I could be going places, not at places, on the way to bigger places. And if I had access to the information and things that I have now, with like a runway of 30, 40, 50 years, it's something else. As you know, we started family very young, and once you start family very young, you got this weight of kids on you, on your head, on your shoulders, like, what will they eat? You want to take them to the best kindergartens. You want them to be, okay, clever. You don't want to not work and risk them out of this comfort life, that I mean crowds you a little bit. But if that is not there, think about you don't have all those worries. You can go start a business and fail and start again and fail. It's painful, but you're gaining experience out of it. But if you got school fees and kids to feed and to really strategy to make them powerful kids, it just weighs on you for a long time until they're done.
Look, I think for me, like, what the future looks like for us, I think we're kind of in the middle, right? But I think if you're either still going to pursue something of your own and also work and continue on that path until you feel like, okay, you no longer need to work and you can solely pursue this thing on your own. But what I wanted to say initially was I think that a lot of what the future looks like, your question, if I remember it correctly, like young people, I feel are influenced by social media quite a bit, right? It shapes the things that they want, the lifestyle that they're aiming for. And a lot of the times jobs nowadays don't give you enough money to have that lifestyle that you're looking for. And I think young people today, if I think about myself when I started working, I was okay with the little money that I was getting at that time. And I felt like it was a lot of money. If you look at a young person now, like I was chatting to my brother-in-law as an example, his expectations of like, how we should be living, what we should be doing, what we should be spending our money on versus, how I was thinking when I was his age is so different. And I suspect it's shaped by social media.
But that could also be a personality thing, because we can also say like, you're not that old that you didn't have social media when you were his age. I just think it's what you...
No, but social media changed. So when I got onto Instagram, that was in second year when I got Instagram. The things I was following on Instagram was like sweets, how to make cupcakes, gym.
What year
my
was this?
favorite. It doesn't matter.
It does matter. The context matters.
I'll tell you.
My favorite celebrities like Angela Simmons, Beyonce. Like, it was just.
You said second, yeah.
It was nothing. Now it's all about like showing your lifestyle, the best parts of your life, travel, luxury, all of those amazing things. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All of that stuff. And I think that if people are constantly watching that, then people feel like then that's what, when I start working, my life needs to automatically be like this. I need a Coach bag. I need, Michael Kors sandals. I need a wig. I need makeup. I need, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying now, I don't know if that 10,000 Rand salary or, that small salary that you get when you start working is sufficient for that lifestyle.
The expectation is not congruent with the
and therefore
reality.
you have to augment it with a side hustle or some extra money from somewhere to make it all like piece together.
But you know what I think, right? I think that we're also getting to a stage, and this is more for, I guess, people within our age range, is that, and I think I'll speak for myself. I saw this a long time ago, but social media, also like, if we're being like specific, Instagram to what you were saying, is very performative. And that's what Instagram is. It's very performative. And I think a lot of people have begun realizing this, because I also just want to say, there's a lot of people on the internet that will preach a lot of things that they themselves either don't have or are not. And then they gain a big following of people who like literally live by these people's words. Like they hang on every single word that they say. And then in 5 years' time, 6 years' time, or even less time, those creators, those people who are pushing these messages or performing this whole thing on Instagram, either get exposed or turn around and do the thing that they told all these people not to do. And it breaks people's perception when it's like, I've been following you for so long and you've been saying X, Y, and Z, but then you turn around and go do this, and then now I've been living my whole... And these are very specific things that I'm saying. Like, and I'll just make it like... I'm talking about people like the people who perform on social media, like they show the luxury, they show this, they show that, but you don't see that the car that dude has that he's busy showing off is actually a rental. It's not his car. The house that they had that house party at is not their house. It's a rental. It's a rental. And like even the people who give dating advices on the internet, those people, they give
partners.
Exactly. They're not in any type of long-standing relationship. They're not married or anything, but they have these very polarizing views of...
But look, I mean, that's a job, right?
No, but that's what I'm trying to say, that it's a performance.
Yes.
And I think after being on social media for so long and going through like one creator after another, pull the wool over your eyes so many times, and you see that this whole thing is fake, and this is what I was trying to like full circle, you see that this whole thing is a performance. It's not real.
Not all.
Not all, but majority
Not
of
all.
it, especially the polarizing ones, is very much a performance. And I think people are only now, or maybe even earlier, are beginning to realize that this whole thing is just...
I mean, you guys have, we've kind of interviewed and interacted with a lot of leaders, probably over 80. Out of them, you don't have to mention the names if you want, or it's controversial. But out of those leaders, who kind of touched you the most as kind of a role model, real, and that actually, we demystified this leader, and I want to be like them, or I like this aspect of their life, their demeanor, their approach to life, how they go about things. Anyone?
I'd say Sheldon.
Why?
I think
You can
I'd say
relate.
Sheldon and Richard. Because they made they started their own businesses and made them what they are today.
Yeah.
Like
More-
that's their
more founders.
own, yeah, more founders. And this is what I was also trying like to also speak about as to like the whole side hustle thing, and you actually not wanting to be in this type of environment of the 9 to 5 and all that, and actually want to build something of your own and be in charge of something of your own. I see them as more of like the role models or what I want to aspire to, because it in a way what you said, it's very hard. Like you didn't sugarcoat anything you said. Being entrepreneur, starting your own business, all that, it's very hard. It's heavy lifting. You don't have money to start these things. You're dealing with a lot of things. And you probably also don't sleep. You're always worried about, am I going to pay the bills next month and all that. But I think the inspiration comes from when you see them once they've succeeded, once they've put in the hard work, once like on the other side, like this is what you've built, and the fulfillment, and how like I see they have such a sense of purpose, because it's like, this is what I built. I know what I'm doing here. This is what I do on the day to day, and it gives me the fulfillment I need, because this is my purpose that I've built from the ground up.
And I think that as a segue, or just to latch on to what my brother said, I think there's a lot to be said about being able to create something from nothing. Like this cash converters didn't exist, and someone thought about it and they made it. And now it is like a corporate that is a 9 to 5. Like if I had to come and work here, it would be my 9 to 5, you know. But it was an idea that someone took and they made it from nothing and made it something. And I think that that is the admiration when it comes to founders. Role models, I don't know. I think the thing.
Role models or something that really was valuable, you took it away as a kind of a take-home value.
Or
Lessons
inspiration.
learned. You know, sometimes you meet people, their mannerism and the way they've lived their life and believe in things or do things kind of spark something in you that like, yeah, this is, I think, the right thing. Like, you know, can amplify some of the ideas in your head.
The thing is, I feel like a lot of the conversations that we've had, I can't say that there's one. I can't highlight that there's
All of
one.
them?
The ones that I've done,
Yeah.
I think all of them come with something that makes you think and reassess what's happening in your life, how you look at it, and whether or not, you know, you should be going for that opportunity or not.
Even our interview that the three of us had twice never
No.
stayed with you. Because I saw in your face when I was telling you stuff, you were like,
Oh yeah, like even that.
lightening up, like,
Yeah, like when you
"Oh,
said
I remember, like,
there was a strategy.
oh, the strategy piece
parenting.
shocked you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like, saw your jaws dropping.
I think that's the. For me, it's less about the role model and more about the little nuggets that you get from the podcast that influence the way you think about certain things that are happening in your life.
But do you think, our mission has always been trying to also demystify this big figures. Do you think we're managing to demystifying them?
Yes and no, if I can be honest.
Yeah, like honesty. Honesty is good.
And I think that some of it is in our control and some of it is not.
Yeah.
I think that people also
Got it?
are guarded and they come here and it's like it's part of their PR. Like,
And they're not relaxed.
I am the CEO of whatever, and I need to portray a particular version of myself or show only 30% of myself. And you see it when people now have to actually talk about the story of how they met their partner. Then you're like, oh, okay, now we're starting to peel off the CEO
The
layers. We're starting to peel the onion. Now we're starting to get to the person. But for as long as we talk about things that relate to work and your work journey and how you're navigating, current macroeconomic issues that are impacting your business, we're always going to get the CEO version.
So what is it that we
person.
can do to unpack them? I mean, I've asked people questions like really push them hard. Some of them said, look, you're going too deep, my friend. Like, go easy. Like others. But what is it that we can do to really demystify them more? I mean, I think I was interviewing with you, Genevieve.
Yeah.
And how Genevieve met the partner, she was very high level and we brought her down and it was so sweet.
Yeah.
What do you think? What is it that we can do to really demystify these guys, these people? Okay, you go 5 minutes.
Maybe tailoring the questions away from work and finding more topics that are centered around the person. So personal, if we talk about work-life balance, we focus more on the life versus the work.
But can I also just say, some people, we can't really take them away. Well, can't take them away. The work part of their story is also very interesting.
Yes,
Some people.
yes,
So
yeah.
Sometimes, also, we can't film forever as well. So sometimes majority of the conversation is around work and that story. And it's also a very inspirational and captivating story. Sometimes you're just not able to also get to the life part sometimes because of how great the work story is.
Okay.
So I hear you on that, but also we also have to take into account that some people just have we're going to focus more on the work sometimes because that's where a lot of the juicy stuff, I guess, is, right?
But maybe that's actually a question we should pose to viewers.
Okay, so
comment down below. Tell us what you want to see more of.
We can do that. So to kind of some parting shots to ease off and close is why don't we do one question each to each other? Question to you, because I think what I've seen is the viewers react differently to both of you, and because you bring different energies and impacts. What do you think I should be doing more on Off the Clock that I do less?
I feel like that question, I need to write it down. Exam question, go think.
All right, Kat, what do you think?
Points.
What do you think I'm doing less or more that I need to maybe do differently?
Something you need to do differently.
Or I do less. I need to do more.
Can I answer while you still think? I actually think it's what we're doing right now. I know that, and I think maybe it's a more general statement for Off the Clock. I think that there are many topics that are relevant to Off the Clock, and potentially we can spotlight all the various key themes that we speak to about CEOs, and potentially talk about the various trends around those topics, similar to what we did today, and just challenge that in this forum.
We do more of that.
We do more of that versus, and not to say we're not going to interview CEOs, but I think more of this is nice, because also what it does is that it also allows for comments. People can also add their opinions in the comments, and contribute to the conversation after the episode.
So, I mean, we can do more of that. I've been thinking about that because Mbali is kind of taking some ideas and jump to them quicker about how they met their partners, the whole topic around sleep, how ranging is it, stress. People talk about regrets as well. We can reflect on that, do reflections on those topics. the topic about people's career inflections, that aha moment that changed them, and also, about what got them to the corner office. Reflect on those journeys. Some people have kind of meandered around. Some people just shot there. So we can reflect on those topics and spotlight them as well.
I think you should also, a topic that you should also spotlight is the difference between like the corporate CEO and like the founder.
Entrepreneurs.
Exactly. I think that's a
topic.
It's a great topic because I feel like there's probably a lot of nuances that people don't understand. And there's also more differences that also people probably don't see because they're either not close to it, or they're just like, yeah.
Cool. You guys still figuring out the questions? Because we need to, this is...
Okay, no, we don't have questions. We have questions for next time.
This is what our dad is like in real life. He's very, we need to wrap this up. His time is money. This is Joburg. This is what he's like. But yeah, I think this whole video, we spoke about this, guys. And I think this is also a good direction we're taking the podcast in, us being able to sit down and have a conversation and reflect on the things we've spoken about with other people. Okay. And I think either we call this a reflections or hot topics or whatever, but I feel like it's nice to have this sit down and be able to, amongst ourselves, speak about the topics we want to hear about from the leaders and the CEOs we interview. I think this also, it just brings it back down to earth a bit.
Okay. Question?
Thank you.